Hello everyone, it's Rex and Christina here to do our first Daily Dispatch for Octoberland. Call it Octoberland Daily Dispatch, where we answer questions about the album or about the Armoires or about the experience of recording or songwriting, whatever anyone wants to know.
And we'll be inviting every member of the band is going to contribute. We'll be telling you a little bit more about this little world that we've created here. And there's going to be some special guests, some surprises, broadcasts from some of the locations that are key to the album. Anyways, every day we'll be revealing a little bit more about what it went into this record that we spent a long time on.
Yeah, and we're even trying out TikTok if you're a fan.
So come join us for the ride. As we say, we are the Armoires.
A singular sound.
And we're probably still messing around. See you tomorrow. So, what, you may ask, is Octoberland, or where is Octoberland? And I hope every member of the band will answer this question without knowing what anyone else said, because they'll all probably have different ideas and they'll all be right, and anyone who listens to it or gleans whatever it means to them out of the album will also be right. It's clearly a place that's a destination that we sing about in several songs. We talk about October as a month and various other sort of autumnal things as well. And I want to say this is a kind of a place that the term just kind of arrived as Christina and I were writing this album as a destination. And I feel like it wouldn't be right to call it a utopia. It's not a place where everything's great. But it also relates to this thing that we talk about in Ridley and Me After the Apocalypse, where we say we're fighting for the future of the artistocracy. I feel like it's a place where the artistic impulse, empathy, the empathy that feels that is more a part of the way people interact with each other and solve problems than it is in the world that we have currently. And October, I'm just partial to it. Fall's my favorite season, but I think being the month of Halloween is kind of a key aspect of it, because that's the time of year when grown-ass adults are allowed to work on a creative project and everyone sort of accepts it. So that sort of spirit of Halloween creativity, combined with just the fact that Christina and I wrote this whole record in late September, early October, and we were feeling that Southern California autumnal vibe, that makes it Octoberland. And whatever Octoberland is to you, you're right as well. So Christina, you've got a copy of Octoberland right there. And Octoberland's not just the title, it's something that's in the lyrics numerous times, that and just October itself. What or where is Octoberland to you?
Oh, Octoberland is that place you build in your mind where you go for solace, for joy, for company. It's where animals roam the earth with the humans and the seasons change depending on your mood. It's where you want to bring all of your dearest friends and family into to experience with them. It's a world you build to escape, but also to share, I think.
So John, we are asking every band member this question. The record's named Octoberland. It's a little thing that we mention every once in a while. What and or where to you is Octoberland?
Oh, what or where? Just hearing October brings me back to, of course, fall and Halloween. And when my kids were young and I used to take them out trick-or-treating, I was always the one out there with them, going up and down all the streets in the neighborhood. And so that's kind of what I think of when I think of October. It takes me back to when my kids were young. It was a really, really cool time.
So, Octoberland is a fictional place evoked in a few of the songs. What does it mean to you?
I think it represents a kind of whimsical autumnal feeling, like when you start to notice the end of summer and the fall breezes start coming in, and it kind of gives you a little chill, some goosebumps, and you start to feel like the world is gonna slow down and settle in a little bit.
So, Cliff, what do you feel like has changed in the Armoires since the early days? You've been playing for us for almost 10 years at this point, and 4 albums. So what, from the early days to Octoberland, feels different?
Well, different personnel, of course, makes a person play a little differently, or you have to listen differently to play with different people. I mean, I like the fact that the songs will change each album anyway. That's not necessarily a factor of time changing things a lot, except that, I guess, the sequence of one album to the next and group of songs happens over the course of time. I've also maybe gotten a little bit better at bass. I'm a converted guitar player. I don't even know if I'm converted really, but I'm exploring.
One of my probably most memorable contributions will be the title of this album. It was originally going to be like one of the last few things they've done where, for whatever reason, they've been using these strange, like, Italian words like the bald one. And I just found that perplexing. And this one they were going to call Sfacciata, and I don't remember, that's also Italian. I think it means something like, you know, machismo, or yeah, we got this, or, you know, hell yeah, or something along those lines. I don't know. And it's not a bad title, but as we started working on it, and I noticed the word Octoberland came up a couple times, and it just, I remember working on the vocals for that song, and they just finished putting on their last bit of harmony and their last bit of singing, and they went outside to have a cigarette, and I said, I know what to do. And I went up and just did like this big harmony stack on the word Octoberland. And I'm like, damn, that's the thing. And, you know, did it in kind of like a big carpenter's wash. And I said, check this out, guys. And I'm waiting for them to go, oh, that's not us. And I played it, and it's just this big... And they're like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, awesome. And then later on, I said, you know, that's really what this album is. You mentioned it a couple times at the very end. One of the last things you say is like, you know, come visit us in Octoberland. And I go, that's a way better title for this thing than Shabata or whatever the hell it was. And later, the next day, they were like, yep, we think that's a good idea. So there it is. That's probably the most important thing I did.
Take me to the stage to see Daddy in a country band. Some kids at my side. She won the livestock prize. She had a little lamb and then the lamb got bigger. It's a great big world and it seems to me it's going back to me. It's much bigger and it's so much smaller than it ever used to be. It's coming back to me. Got my baby beside me going eastbound on a cross-country flight. All I can think of is the night. It's coming back to me. It's coming back. It's coming back to me. Coming back. It's coming back to me. Coming back. It's coming back to me. 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 It's coming back to me.
What's it like putting out a record on Big Stir Records? How do those guys treat you?
They treat us pretty well. Sometimes we hang out at places like Selma, California, and go to the diner. It really doesn't get much better than that.
I hear good things. So you think they're going to handle the Armoires record all right?
Yeah, there's a little tension between the Armoires and Big Stir, but I think they'll work it out.
Okay. We're gonna take your word for it. We're gonna see how it goes when we get this this record Octoberland out there. Keep the upside down.
Hello and welcome to another Octoberland Daily Dispatch. Here's the back side of the album. We're here to answer questions from Carla Kane and Rebecca Hall.
It's actually Carla asking one question and Rebecca saying, that's Carla from the Corner Laughers and Rebecca Hall from Hungrytown, two of our wonderful Big Stir Records label mates. Carla says, your vocal blends are key to the Armoires sound. How do you decide who sings which vocal parts? And Rebecca says, yes, I've been wondering about that too. We're here to answer, I think.
I think so too. I mean, we don't know which parts we're going to sing before we actually start recording. Well, sometimes we do before we start recording, but when we're writing them and arranging them, sometimes that changes. We try them in different ways. We record both parts and then switch them. Sometimes end up switching them halfway through a song. I've sung an octave lower on a song or two.
Yeah, you know, and I sing some really high parts sometimes. Even Michael Simmons, when mixing them, would say, "Hey, I'm losing track of which one of you guys is singing which part."
And then when Larissa has a harmony, he couldn't believe that it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So that was funny too.
So it's trial and error. What fits the song, what fits the characters that we're embodying, and I think it lends a little bit of mystery.
As to who's singing, you mean?
Yeah, as to just the sound itself.
It's a singular sound.
So trial and error.
And I think the song chooses it too.
Yeah. We always know it's never a point of disagreement when we figure it out. We land on it and it's just right. So, and I'm glad to take that question from two wonderful singers.
Fantastic singers.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Rex, that's our new album, huh?
Yes.
Can you tell everyone how it's different?
Yeah. I think it just has a real sense of time and space and cohesion that came from, like, when you and I started writing these songs, we felt like it was describing its own little universe. That's why we talk about it being world building, and why it's called Octoberland. Mm-hmm. And I feel like everyone that worked on it, that came on board, we would play it for Michael Simmons, and he said, "Yeah, I see what you're going for. I feel like there's a real focus with this band." And we talked to Ridley about the art design, and she said, "Yeah, this kind of timeless Art Nouveau vibe would fit that, and that's sort of what we were all thinking. When Michael came in to do the photography, we went with that as well. Everyone that worked on the videos, everyone that worked on the parts. John had this great feel for the drums. When Larissa and Cliff came in at the end to sort of finish the arrangements, we were all just, kind of instinctively understood what we were doing. And it feels like when I'm holding this, like this is what it was always going to be. And that's just a really wonderful and unique feeling to me.
You gotta get him from this angle.
All right.
Baby, here you go. Gentle. Somebody's very happy. Oh, this is Ziggy.
These are the Beasties. These are the animals of the music and animals. This is one of your twin Maine Coons, soft and dark as the midnight skies.
He usually has a perturbed look on his face.
So,
babies.
why are these guys... Oh.
Here you go. Gentle. Oh, yeah, good boy.
So why are these guys so compelling and we just can't resist putting them in our songs? What's the story?
Well, this one and his brother got me through the pandemic. You're actually wearing a Zed Cats t-shirt.
I am. It's true.
These are the famous Zed Cats from Incognito.
And Ziggy and Zorro, not in a pile currently, but frequently in a pile.
Yeah. But yeah, they bring solace and joy and laughter. They're silly and sweet. And I can't imagine life without animals.
That's the fitting note that we end the record on, so yeah.
Music and Animals is the last song on the album. Mm-hmm. And these guys are all in it.
This is a Pibble, and he's so sweet.
The best. The best beasties evers. Larissa, this is the 4th album from the Armoires, and you've been there from the get-go. How is this one different?
This one feels very cohesive. Like we had one idea from the very beginning and kind of tied it all together throughout the different songs. So it was always gonna have this kind of October-y, little bit Halloween-y, witchy sentiment going through the whole thing from the start. And some of the other ones were more just different songs that we really liked that we put together in a way that we thought was satisfying, but they weren't all written together. So, yeah.
All right. So, Mr. John Borak, you are signing... Oh, yes.
Hi.
Hello. You're signing CDs, which is nothing new to you. But there's also a vinyl LP over there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first full-length vinyl LP that your performances have graced. How does that...
It is, yeah. It's the first full-length album that I've ever been on. I've had songs on compilations and done different things with Michael Simmons as pop dudes and one-offs here and there with other people and other bands I used to be in, but this is the maiden voyage, as it were, and I was listening to it on my way here today and just feeling really, really proud. Not necessarily proud of myself, but just proud because I think this album is a really cool achievement for everybody in the band. I don't play music with people if I don't like the people, first of all, and if I don't like the music. And that's why I love being in this band, because I love the people, and I love the music, and I really, really love this album. And I would love it even if somebody else was playing drums. I'd probably love it more if somebody else was playing drums.
We would not. We would consider that to be... There's Christina. We would consider that to be a terrible deficit to the album, a loss, a tragedy in the music world.
Oh.
But thank you, and we love playing with you, too.
Okay, you two. So, Octoberland has a real sense of time and place. Can you think of any other album that has delivered the same experience?
No. Cliff?
No, but
We're the first people to ever do this.
it sounds like an excellent idea.
Really, really. I mean, no, there absolutely was. I mean, Christina, as you and I wrote this, and then as the band put it together, there was definitely a feeling that it could kind of only exist in. Ironically, one of the things I think of is "Out of Time" by REM. It's kind of a little oddball record that, you know, of all the REM records I would have thought we might emulate. That's one of the least, but it's great. And at the end of the day, I kind of feel like it does have that vibe. We did a cover of the title song for John Cale's Paris 1919 on the last album, and I think that one too has all these sort of like sideways historical references. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
As an overall thing, this sort of like recontextualizing of mythology and stuff like this, does this feel like the band to you? Like maybe the first band record?
Oh, wow. Music from Big Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a self-titled one, both of them kind of.
Oh, right.
have
Yeah.
that vibe,
Well, right. There's all that kind of Lee Bones stories that kind of got turned into.
Yeah, they're
the whole southern United States mythology, the mythos of. Yeah. Okay. Maybe not.
So in other words, yes.
Right.
Also,
the time and place thing, they're just shoot, I had an idea and I lost it. But,
it was Notorious Birch Brothers.
Okay, there you go. Notorious. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
It sounds like an excellent idea.
Excellent idea. Yeah. So in other words, don't do drugs. I don't. I'm just telling the kids out there.
Okay, good.
Doesn't that sound like an excellent idea?
It does sound like an excellent idea.
Whoa, I'm sorry.
My great Uncle Grover, not from Oops, still out though.
Okay, how long was that?
God grant me the stability to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. And once I got that all figured out, just give me some kind of handbook. Send me a Mercedes Benz or more money send me a GPS so I can figure out where to go. Just give me a sense of direction or any kind of sense at all. And just give me some loving arms to catch me when I fall. If that's too much to ask, I'll settle for a handbook. Some kind of handbook about being alone. Some kind of handbook like I want for my phone. Lord knows. Probably won't read it, but at least I know where to find it.
Oh, how did I get involved? Well, you see, Rex and Christina are wonderful people, and everybody says that, but that's because it's true. And they're just once you get to know them, they're aside from just being very kind, they're really interesting. And Rex is very, he's very intellectual and very literate, and he has and just the way that they put words together is pretty fun. And I remember I was sitting at their place listening to Zibaldone, and then some stuff that they put in incognito. Look, when I'd go over, like sometimes they're in Burbank, so that's like a good. It's not like it's super far from me, but it's far enough that you don't just head over and hang. It's kind of like if I have to go that far, I'm going to that part of the world, and I've got time to kill, I will just kind of like stop by sometimes to hang out. So I think in one of those cases, I was listening to their stuff and just kind of digging it and really started to understand what they were about, which was fun. And then on one of those trips, they're like, "Do you want to hear the new demos?" And I'm thinking, okay, this is one of those sneaky moments where, they're spinning their web. But I played stupid, and I said, "Sure, I'll listen to your demos." And I'm listening to it. But if you set a job in front of me, is this the way I am? I'm just gonna start immediately thinking about, well, okay, what can we do with this? What can we do with that? How can this be better? What needs to be added? Blah, blah. So I can't help but go there when I'm listening to anything that's kind of in a formative state. And I think they knew that about me. So yeah, I got caught in their little web. And basically I was already thinking, I probably I could see that they had something good going, and I knew what to do to kind of make it work for them. I kind of knew what they needed, and I knew I could do it, and it wouldn't be no problem. And so I think the next day I was talking to him, and I go, I've been thinking about your record, and they kind of just like almost waited for me to say I would do it before they even asked. God damn it. They webbed me, man. They webbed me good. And they're still webbing me. Here I am. But it's okay because, there's nothing better than being involved in something of good quality that speaks to you. And I don't expect everyone in the world to get it, but that's their problem. I had a really great time. And just getting to spend any time in sharing thoughts I always had every time I would ask them a question like, what the hell is that lyric about? There was always like a really intense story, usually funny, or at least like, okay, that's a lot. So yeah, there's endless things to learn. So if you're that kind of a person that really likes to get your hands dirty and dig deep into stuff, this is the band for you.
Cool, hey? So I'm here with a graphic designer, Ridley Broom, who's also my daughter.
Hello.
And so you remember when you spent that one time when you spent like 10 months designing 5 major pieces for Armoires records?
Kind of hard to forget.
Was that a good time?
It was, I'd say, in the end satisfying, but in the moment arduous.
But you were on it though. You had the aesthetic, you had the whole thing,
Yeah, we had, the big inspiration was definitely this piece right here. It was a lot of looking at Art Nouveau, but also trying to isolate like the color palettes, and especially with the big album cover piece right here.
This album right here? This one right here? Yeah.
It was.
And this stuff right here? And that? Which was also all the different singles?
Yeah.
Here comes the song.
I'd say the Art Nouveau and like references like that in the single pieces, it's a lot of the like motifs and the like circular kind of like halos of characters, and then also the borders around. This one in particular, it took a while because it's so detailed, but I mean, I can't be really upset about it.
It's dope.
I think it turned out really well.
Dope. I remember, I mean, like we couldn't recreate the night I brought this home, but I just remember, and this, we're gonna leave it here, Ridley saying, "Oh, the pixels." Hello folks, we are here with Mike Lidskin and his lovely wife Amber. Mike is a DJ on Woody Radio, and he has interviewed us many times. Today Christina's going to turn the tables and interview Mike. Christina.
Mike, what is your favorite food?
Boy, you know, it's hard because I usually have a set answer for that, but today we're at McCoy's in Selma, California. The Cali burger is now moving up that list. That was pretty darn good, but generally it's going to be Mexican food of any kind. It's going to be tacos. Because a week without tacos, are you even having a week, really?
Thanks, Mike. We'll see you on Woody real soon.
Love you guys.
Love you too. Amber!
So let's talk about Michael Simmons, our producer.
Yeah, we made it through the writing process. We were really happy with what we had done. That was a sort of a singular achievement for us in itself.
But we did demos.
And we did do demos, and I think we weren't quite sure who we wanted to see us through it, because we were going to be a very tight-knit band on this one. It wasn't going to be a lot of guests, so we wanted a producer that was part of the family.
Right.
And
Michael Simmons was one of the first people we played it for, not knowing what his reaction was going to be.
Yeah, I think we already were, sort of, hey, real cash, as musician to musician, you want to hear what we've been working on?
And we played it for him outside with the airplanes going up overhead.
Yeah, he was working on something else because we were preparing his band's album for the label, the Sparkle Jets UK record.
Which is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah. And I remember just kind of just looking out the side of the corner of my eye and being like,
we were nervous.
He's smiling.
Yeah.
He's smiling.
And he snickered a little bit at some of the lines he heard. And he was like, you guys.
Yeah. And then I think he said that I feel a lot of things coming into focus with this band, which is what we felt too, but probably didn't want to articulate at that time. And he kind of went, yeah, I'll do it. And we hope it wasn't too arduous of a task, but we were very simpatico, I think.
Oh yeah, and he's a musical genius, so we're very lucky.
And he just kind of knew what we were going for all the time. I mean, there was
and added to it, like made it better.
And that's it. It was a classic band producer arrangement, in the kind that you really can't do in the sort of DIY world too much.
So true, yeah.
And we have, we could talk about this forever. We'll probably do whole other segments on it, but thank you, Simmons.
Yes, thank you.
Octoberland would not be what it is without you.
It would not. So Rex, people are always curious about the guitars.
Yeah, and this is pretty much the one. This is beat up Rickenbacker 610-12, and people there's nothing really fancy about it. This is my guitar that I have had since 1988, so 30 some years. It's been my primary guitar the whole time. We've really, we've used this, this is pretty much, it's on every song on this record. I mean, it's always been, the 12 string has always been a dominant sound with the Armoires, because that's something you responded to when we first started working together. But we really lean into it on this record because I think we understood that we have a sound that we don't need to walk away from, and it has to do with the harmonies, it has to do with the strings, it has to do with kind of everything that goes together, and the jangle is part of it. That's sort of the bedrock, and it really works for this band, I think. So I don't have any inclination to walk away from that. So yeah, we're gonna stay together. We've been together for a long time. And yeah. So Christina, you have always told me that you are very much drawn to story songs.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if you could tell me about some of the ones that meant a lot to you and why, and how that relates to what we do in the Armoires.
Okay, well, yeah, as a little kid, I would listen to AM radio. I think the station was called CKLW in Detroit. And there were story songs that would come on, like The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald or One Tin Soldier, Ode to Billy Joe. So many, I can't even think of them right now, but yeah, they take you away. They make you feel like you've absorbed an entire really good book in like minutes flat. You come out the other side feeling like you experienced the entire story. And that's hard to do. It's hard to shave the fat like that and tell an entire story through a song. But yeah, the Armoires, we have story songs. We both, I think, really gravitate toward them. And I remember listening to your old stuff in the Skates and Rays and digging through your tome of lyrics in the closet there.
It can stay there. We've got better things to do.
But yeah, I could see that it was the same sort of feeling I got from reading the lyrics or listening to, the story songs that you write. And I think that's translated into what we do together as the Armoires. I hope so, anyway.
I agree. I think you're the one that brings it there, to be real about it.
Oh,
yeah.
I wouldn't give me that much credit.
I would.
The viola and the 12-string lead parts are usually the last written and recorded in the Armoires process. But there's a lot of back and forth. What's that process like?
There's a lot of listening, and usually I don't have a solid part written until Rex and I sit down and start recording something. And a lot of times he'll record some fills on his 12-string before I get to it, and then we might end up swapping where we put our fills, and occasionally something really cool happens where one of us will play something and the other one will harmonize with it after hearing it on the latest recorded track. It's a lot of fun. There's definitely a lot of back and forth, like you said. And yeah, it often doesn't fully come together until the final day of recording, which might not be the most straightforward process, but I feel like it works for us.
push 40, see if anyone. Well, I'm king of this land, but I secretly wish that I was selling art out of some junk shop. The truth is I may never be so bold. And it's freezing up here, but I'm sick to my bones, trying to get my kids to listen to punk rock. I hope I live before I get old. So let's push 40 out the gate. Let's push 40 underneath our weight. Let's run 40 right out of the stage. Let's show 40 how it's done. Let's crash 40 right into the sun. Let's push 40 through the five rings of Fornax, shot in 3D widescreen IMAX, from the foreplay to the climax, all night long. Through our spectacles and contacts, past the chimneys and the smokestacks, through the smoke rings of your mind, it's a whole song. Well, that woman down there, she looks right in my lens, and I can see she's not as young as she used to be. And I ain't no spring chicken, truth be told. And there's a tear in her eye, and she looks like she's feeling like she might be willing to meet with me. I hope I live before I get. Hope I live before I get. I hope I live before I get old. So let's kick 40 in the pants. Let's teach 40 how to dance. Let's show 40 a little romance. Let's push 40 into the red. Let's pin 40 down on the bed. Let's push 40 right out of our.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Lizard.
He's so cute. Like lizard.
Wherever I go.
Sometimes.
Well, look, he's doing the
Wherever I
dance.
go, animals
He's doing the dance.
follow.
Music and animals.
Oh. Okay.
We're here once again with the John M. Borak signing session. John,
Yes, sir.
do you remember when you first heard the songs that were going to be on this record, and what was that like?
You know, I think I heard them, of course, in demo form, and I remember thinking, these are great as is, and I think that's the mark of a really cool record, is when you can hear the demos and think, this thing's already done. We don't need to do anything else. And then when
Thank God we did, though.
well, oh yeah, of course. But when once things started getting layered on top, and all the different production things that Mike Simmons added to it, and all the little bells and whistles you and Christina and Cliff and Larissa put on it, it made a good thing even better. But I remember just hearing the songs in their sort of naked form and thinking, wow, this is really, really good stuff. I'm honored to be a part of it.
Well, we can't get you to say anything juicy or negative whatsoever, can we?
Well, you could, but no. No.
No, it means the world to us, and we were admittedly nervous about playing them for you because you do review music.
True, and I was nervous about recording the drums with Michael Simmons because he yells quite often. Not at you or Christine or anybody else in the band.
You don't know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you do know.
Yeah, I do know.
You do.
Mike yells at me, but that's okay, because you know, like he said recently, that's what brothers do. You know, it's. I know how to push his buttons. He knows how to push my buttons. We've been pushing a hell of a lot of buttons for about 25 years now. And
well, we'll just leave you guys to some privacy for that.
A little bit of button
scenario.
pushing.
Yeah.
Oh, favorite musical things. There's a lot of Easter eggs in anything that I work on. There's a bunch in this one. There's probably a lot I don't remember. I don't remember if we've got a Wilhelm scream on this album, but you know, I don't think I've ever done an album that doesn't have at least one in there. So if it's missing, I apologize, but for the life of me, I can't remember where it might be. Snake Island 13 sounds like a good place for it, but I don't know if it's there. But let's see, some things I really liked. I remember when I came up with some kind of churning synth thing for, this one's for the Swedes. I think that was me. That kind of, and I was like, I don't know if they're going to go for this because it's kind of out there. But that's really satisfying when I hear that. I just think that sounds awesome. And let's see what else. I mentioned this in another video, but when I went in and did the vocal on the word Octoberland with the big Carpenter's harmony stack, that was really satisfying. I've put it on every single one of these little videos at the end, so you're sick of hearing it by now. Let's see. And I do show up as a musician here and there on this record. I can't remember all the places. Sometimes just a little thing. Sometimes it was just a few notes or a little extra guitar here and there. I did play a bunch of electric guitar on the opening track, because I was just like, this thing really needs to be like, and it was for a while. Early stages, it was very like, it had a lot of bombast to it, which I think it needed. By the time we got everybody on and made everybody happy, it got a little, it got a little busy. So I fought with that mix a lot, and I'm still kind of angry with that song right now. But there are definitely some really fun moments on there. And other things that were fun was, you know, working with Christina. She's a very like studied. She's like a piano teacher. I think she literally is a piano teacher, but she knows how to do that. That's kind of her thing. And there's a bunch of organ tracks on this album, and I'm like, Christina, you know, organ needs to be a little more visceral. Needs to be a little more, you know, you have to attack it like a bear. That's how like B3 is supposed to be played. You can't just play chords on it. You've got to like, you know, push in, do glissandos and up and down every time you play a chord, and run the rotary fast and slow and all those kinds of fun things. So I got to kind of go back with the computer, and after she's already played all of her parts, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna B3 this for you. And so I did all the crazy, you know, B3 organ player nonsense on top of her nice, you know, parts. So I kind of helped her with that one. So those were fun moments for me.
So I almost feel like the whole history of the band led up to this point where we sat down to write this album, and it organically pointed us to the fact that we were going to write and sing all the songs from a we perspective, as a collective.
Yeah, we actually mentioned that this is a collective in the opening song.
Yeah, I think the big deal about it is that there's a sort of a power to that. It's a little bit disarming to the listener when it turns out it's not, you know, it's not my song where I'm going to sing this thing about what I'm bothered by, or your song where you're going to sing what's heartbreaking to you. We're already two people expressing an idea together.
And a full band.
And the full band, and we embody the band on a lot of this. This one's for the Swedes about the band being on tour, and at the end of it, with it's a good time to come back down from the cold. The solution to escaping. It's not escapism. It's finding meaning through communication.
Absolutely. And even music and animals, talking about how do we get by? How do we get by in this world?
It's almost like this coalesces with certain, political ideas that are in the air, but we wrote it a while ago. But I'm proud of that. It means a lot to me that we did write it together, then it builds out to be the band helping to express that, and then it goes out to the listeners. And I think it's unusual to write an entire record from that perspective, but I think we're uniquely suited for it.
Yeah, I think so too. It just seemed very organic.
So, Christina, whose artwork is this on this wall behind you?
This is Larissa's artwork. Larissa Bobanco, who is an armoire in the band. She plays viola and violin, and she also contributes vocals. She's a very talented artist. These are her early work, since before she graduated college. And some of them are even high school. And she also did that. I don't know if you can see that.
That was the cover art for one of our singles, or one of our fake band's singles.
Again, from Incognito.
So, yeah, you've been in a band with your daughter for almost a decade.
It's wonderful.
And how have things changed in terms of her role in the band and that sort of thing since then?
Oh, I think she's even more creative now than she ever used to be. She's in a bluegrass band called the Old Corn Lickers.
I think old-time band. I'm saying that so she doesn't school you on that.
She would.
Yeah.
Yeah, old time is different, a little different from bluegrass. But yeah, she's learned how to improv so beautifully and brings all of that talent to the Armoires recordings now. And I couldn't be a more proud mom. She's just an amazing human. She's an environmental scientist now, and just very talented artistically in so many ways. I feel really lucky to know her.
And I just don't think this band would be the Armoires without her.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And a fun fact, there is absolutely no recording that doesn't have you and me and Larissa on it under the Armoires name, and I imagine...
wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly.
Risa, you've been in the Armoires for over a decade. What's it like being in a band with your mom?
It's lovely. Every time I see my mom make something that she has put her heart and soul into, I'm so proud of her, and it fills my heart with lots of love and joy.
And who are you holding?
This is Ziggy. Is he on the cover?
He's on the back, sort of.
Zorro's on the cover.
Zorro's on the
His
cover.
twin brother.
But they're both mentioned in Music and Animals.
True.
Those are your paintings on the wall. I'm so proud of you in every way. Hey Rex, where are we now?
We're on the streets of Bakersfield. In fact, we're right here on Buck Owens Boulevard, right near Buck Owens Crystal Palace. And this seems like a good place to explain what the Armoires are singing about when we say sing Upside Down Bakersfield in our song. We absolutely mean it. It's about the arrangements of the strings and guitars. Bakersfield country, we don't play anything like Bakersfield country, but we love it, and we take this little arrangement cue from it. There's a lot of, in Bakersfield country, there's a lot of twangy, almost baritone Telecaster guitar, and a lot of times there'll be a fiddle above that, and they'll kind of chase each other, pick up melodic lines from each other, and that sort of thing. And when we're doing our lead arrangements, we do a lot of the same things with the guitar and Larissa's viola, but Larissa's viola is lower than the fiddle, and my 12 string is higher than a twangy Telecaster. So it's like the same kinds of arrangements, but upside down. So Upside Down Bakersfield.
you truly valued your health? How did you make a mistake like me? How could you? Why would you make a mistake like me? How dare you? It's not fair to make a mistake like me. Make a mistake like me. They call us the sketchiest couple that there could ever be. But babe, they adore you, they just don't see what you see in me. I know you're too good for me, honey, so how did you make a mistake like me? Doesn't stop you from spending your money. How did you make a mistake like me? How could you? Why would you make a mistake like me? How dare you? It's not fair to make a mistake like me. Make a mistake like. When I rise up to kiss you from the gutter, why does it seem okay? If I didn't love you so much, I'd beg you to run, run, run away. They call me 3 miles up that road, but babe, I'm the whole 405. And the biggest mistakes take the longest to kill you, and that's why you're still alive. You could do better with anyone else, so why did you make a mistake like me? But I want you all to myself. How did you make a mistake like me? When you hold me, I can't let you go. How did you make a mistake like me? All your friends really want to know is, how did you make a mistake like me? How could you? Why would you make a mistake like me? How dare you? It's not fair to make a mistake like me. Make a mistake like.
So, Christina, tell me a tale, spin me a yarn, a road story. What's your favorite tour memory with the Armoires?
Oh gosh, I think a lot of them are with touring with the Swedes from Indeed. Wonderful band, oh my God, and wonderful people. A lot of my memories have to do with driving. Stephen in the UK driving a stick shift on the wrong side with the wrong arm.
A double clutch.
A double clutch.
Yeah.
When we got stuck in reverse,
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get out,
Yes.
and we had to ask for help. That was funny. In the van with the Swedes touring California, whenever they broke out into Swedish, they would stop and say, "Oh, by the way, we're talking about beer." So I have no idea what they're talking about, but I had to believe that they were talking about beer. That was fun. So a lot of it has to do with driving, but also the people that we stayed with, the generous, wonderful hosts in the Airbnbs. Kevin Perry's father, Norman, who played bass for us in the UK. Norman and Linda were just the best. They took us everywhere. They fed us. They let us stay there. The host in the Airbnb in Liverpool that made us that wonderful vegan pasta that was still on the stove, warm at 2 in the morning when we got home. Just the generosity, the camaraderie, the laughter, the joy, and the driving. That's what I remember.
Driving, yes, indeed.
Yes. Talk. John, do you have a favorite tour story?
Well, I wasn't technically in the band at the time, but when we went up and did the tour of California, went up north and played at the record store in Fresno, Or I got my first Beatles Butcher cover, by the way. That was a cool story. How I just happened to see it in the bedroom where I was laying on the floor in the guy's house. The guy owned the record store. Bob, thank you, Bob, owned the record store, and I saw that Butcher cover, and I said, Bob, how much? And I bought that bitch from Bob and mailed that to me. But the cool thing is that going on that tour was really something I've never done before as a musician, so it was just kind of cool. And then being with you guys and the folks from Indeed, just super amazing people. And it's neat to me how I can hear a lot of the lyrics on Octoberland, and there's little nuggets from the tour.
Right.
You know, melon salsa on fire. Holy crap, do I remember that melon salsa.
It's so good though.
I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but I remember.
We just drove past it on our trip to see Blake Jones in Fresno.
I'm glad you drove past and to get me melon salsa to go, because that shit
No,
was,
we're gonna go back.
boy. Oh.
It's called Taquerias Mariscos or something like that.
That is exactly what it's called. I wrote it down.
Wow.
It's
well,
right
anyway.
off the 99, right at the right at the, like if you go over the grapevine, right at the end.
I heard it through the grapevine.
We
But
made it through the grapevine.
You made it.
That
one time, barely. But yeah, that melon salsa. I've never tasted anything so hot in my entire life. And I'm thinking, oh, melon salsa, it'll be sweet, like mango salsa you get from Costco or something.
Yeah.
What a fool I was. Oh my God.
Mouth on fire.
Mouth,
All
yes.
the time.
Yes. But no, it's cool. Those little nuggets, Midnight KXLU. I remember when we did that radio gig.
Oh my goodness.
There's that little lyric
Were
in there
we there
too.
till like 4 in the morning?
It seemed like it.
I
But
think we didn't even start until 2:30.
yeah, it was after midnight.
Yeah.
We're gonna let it all hang
A
out.
lot. After
Anyway, just little nuggets like that is just so much fun to sort of relive them in the lyrics to the songs on the new album.
What did I actually do? Well, honestly, not a whole lot. Unlike a regular old-fashioned, recording studio producing situation where, the producers, paying for the studio time and hiring in musicians and kind of making executive decisions on how things should be. Here's the songs that we're gonna do, or here's the ones we're gonna cut. I didn't do any of those things. What these guys needed from me, if at all, was just somebody to come in and kind of like polish things a little bit, knock off the rough edges, shore things up and make sure everything was a little bit more regimented, which is something I'm good at doing. I've been doing that for people for a long time. And just kind of make sure everything would come together and be okay. But as far as there was rarely a time where we were all in the room together. It did happen on a few occasions, but typically we started with their demos, which they gave me all their demos, which were pretty much completely there. Like all the ideas were on the demos before I ever saw it. And then I helped kind of with, get them to be kind of conform them to, even time and some other things like that, because they were very loose and like a little bit, cobbled together like a collage. So I kind of got that going, made sure they had drum parts that were actually, playable, because there was some MIDI drums in there. So I may have dressed those up a little bit so that when John heard the demos for the first time, because I heard these demos before, some of the band members probably did, that they would all be parts that he could kind of understand, because John was able to and did indeed play whatever he wanted to play, but sometimes it's nice to be able to kind of point the drummer in the direction you want to go. So I made sure that what we started with was kind of what Rex and Christina were going for, because we're all very busy people, and there wasn't like they were going to have time to sit around and rehearse this stuff for months like some bands might. We just kind of had to get it down and get going. And then eventually we did have some drum days where John and Rex and Christina all showed up here, and I think it took 2 or 3 sessions where we just went through and he drummed on top of all the demos. And we got that all done. And once he was in the can, then we started, Rex and Christina at home or back at her place did a lot of their parts, and they put down new guitar, and I think we might have even used a lot of the demo piano stuff. And then a lot of the guitars got replaced or added to. They did a lot of vocal things. Then we went away and did it and went up to my cabin in the mountains and worked on vocals for about a week and a few little guitar bits that were done. And I really thought we were done then, but of course not. No, we were not done. And then there was more guitar, and there was more vocal, and there was like they had to track down Cliff and get all the bass on, and they had to track down Larissa over many sessions and get her parts on. And there was one day where they all came here and we put a few extra bits of viola on some stuff, and then it was almost done. But that's kind of what I did, is I just got helped them get all the pieces together and cleaned everything up and did the mixes and made any last minute changes, did some mastering, and made a few different alternate versions for different reasons, and there it is. That's what we do.
Stephen Wilson of Plastic Soul, what was it like to produce the Armoires' 2019 album, Zibaldone?
Fun.
Could you elaborate?
Really fun. No, it's great. It's my first time ever working on somebody else's stuff, and it came out really good, and it's an amazing record, and you should buy it.
We might.
Get it on vinyl, and CD, and cassette.
Shit, now we gotta make cassettes. All right, we gotta go, Christina.
I feel like this record has a real sense of community to it.
Yeah, I think it's pushing towards that. It's subtly, with humor in a lot of cases, advocating for found family and communication, and sort of pushing against
self-involvement.
Yeah, which is the huge problem that I'm going to say we face as a culture.
Yeah.
And I like to think we're not preachy about it, and I like to think that that it comes from storytelling.
Oh, and we're inviting everyone along for the journey, so that it's all inclusive. It's not. I don't feel like there's a wall there. I feel like it's for everyone to.
And it's specifically inviting because we sing together constantly, which is a little bit unusual. So just by the very nature of it, when the song starts, we open our mouths together. There's,
ambiguous androgyny.
Yeah, and you don't know which one of us is singing what, but it is community by definition.
Yeah.
And we really lean into that in the lead track, but it's there from the start to the end.
It's a we album.
That's a whole nother video, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
All right. See about the we in a minute. From Octoberland to Easter, what are we looking at here, Christina?
Well, these are Ukrainian Easter eggs. They're called pisanki, and we do them every year. There's a little stylus you fill with wax, and you cover all of the areas you want in a certain color, and then put it in another dye, and then cover that color, and then in another dye, and so on and so forth until you take all of the wax off at the end. And then your entire design is revealed.
Well, your Ukrainian heritage has always been a big part of your identity and the band's identity, and it's Larissa's heritage too. But it's kind of never been more of a focus than it is on, especially on Snake Island 13, on this island, on this record.
On this,
we'll call it an island. It's a place. Octoberland is an island now.
Yes. My parents were immigrants from the Ukraine. It was called the Ukraine back then. It's now just Ukraine. And the war has been devastating. Absolutely devastating. I can't even do this without crying. But so we saw on the news the 13 soldiers that were on Snake Island in the Russian warship pulled up. And there was a standoff. The Ukrainian soldiers were very brave and basically told the Russian warship to F off. And nobody knew at the time what happened to those 13 soldiers. There were explosions in the background. We thought they were all gone and started to research Snake Island, found all of this mythology, folklore. It's Achilles' resting place. He's buried there, apparently. So much there, so much history, so much. It turns out that they are alive. All 13 soldiers made it. But we wrote the song, Snake Island 13, without knowing that. And hopefully everything will turn out the way they deserve it to turn out, which means Ukraine will be free and stay free forever. What are you looking at, Rex?
Well, this is a book. This is the collected poems of Edgar Allan Poe. It was at least leafing through this when we shot the video for Here Comes the Song. And I think it fits. The question sometimes is asked, is it power pop? And in the case of the Armoires, I think it could be asked, is it lit rock? and I kind of think yes. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing at all. Because it's, we're presenting things with a really weird and crazy sense of fun and kind of ridiculous stuff over top, but we're basing it on this level of shared storytelling. And we talk about losing your self-involvement. We talked about that as one of the themes on this record. And one of the ways we demonstrate it or try to bring people to it is by tapping into this shared storytelling tradition. So we're not shy about dropping folklore references in there. There's things pulled from everything from the Bible to Shakespeare, and we even get to the point of explicitly talking about genre tropes, things that you might see in animated shows, things like that in Ridley and Me After the Apocalypse, and that's something that brings everyone together. These references are understood. No one's concerned if Bob Dylan or like John Cale's, one of my favorite writers, does that too. What Robbie Robertson does in the band, especially that early work, where there's a lot of sort of sideways views of mythology where you get the references, but you understand it's going somewhere else. That's really rich to me, and I think. We revel in bringing that to the forefront.
Is that a raven behind you?
That's a raven behind me. And this is Poe. So yeah, we also have a lot of our own themes and recurring imagery, and I'll talk about that later.
Still standing sentry. Seems like we've got no place to go. We didn't travel great distances. We didn't venture into the abstract. We didn't wrap our heads around the truth because heads don't bend like that. But you were beautiful then. Sassafras and chestnuts, the willow and the orchard gone. A single stone to break the water. I guess we must be moving on. We didn't travel great distances. We didn't venture into the abstract. distances. Now we travel great distances alone. We could travel great distances together. If we had only known, we should have traveled great distances. We should have traveled great distances together. Great distances. And now we live at great distances forever. Great distances. Great distances alone. Great distances. As if we could have known. And you were beautiful now. And you'll be beautiful then.
Which of these tunes was the most fun to work on? And is it the same as your favorite song on the record?
I think both of those favorites were probably You Ought to Be Cut in Half. It's so absurd and silly. And we kind of just ran with the absurdity of it. And I had a lot of fun doing little pizzicato fills and adding some vocals to the background and making it just a little bit weirder than it was initially. And I'm glad everyone was on board with that.
So Cliff, we hung out with Mike Litzkin and Amber Litzkin.
Mm-hmm.
Today, Mike is of Woody Radio, the show with no name. We've known him for years. He's a fabulous DJ. But you alluded to the fact that you've been never interviewed.
True.
By
True.
Mike Litzkin.
Yeah, he seems like, I think he lived in the Valley when he was younger, so that's cool. Yeah.
And now in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to ask you a question that he would have asked you. And see
Okay.
what your answer is. What is your favorite food?
I'll just go with barbecue. As a kid, for my birthday, my mom would make barbecue spare ribs. Actually, probably just in a pan with barbecue sauce on them, but they were still great. Rarely eat it anymore, but that keeps it special, and maybe keeps me healthier too. So.
I get that.
Mm-hmm. Are you ever gonna make me any ribs?
Oh, absolutely. Next weekend. Are you down?
Oh no! I'm embarrassed.
You can't give me a challenge like that and not take me up
Oh
on it.
no!
So, John, you are not only a talented musician and an exemplary human being, but you're also what I often describe as a noted rock scribe.
Wow.
A writer on all things musical. And your fans may know you from such great hits as Thieves, Line Books, Shake Some Action 2.0, and The Beatles 100. Available at all fine
Retailers?
retailers, yes.
Fans? You said fans?
Fans.
I don't know about fans.
I do.
I'm one.
So, I don't envy the job when you do the reviews. I know a lot of people, might be a little demanding. It's difficult to navigate. But it bums me out that you can't review the Armoires anymore. I mean, we couldn't be happier to have you in the band. But you can never pen that 5-star review. Would you do a 5-star review in this record?
Of this album?
Yeah.
Oh, certainly.
Aww.
Well, what would you say about it?
What would I say?
Yeah.
The band, outside of the drummer, has reached a new level. The previous releases were very, very good. Each one, I think, and this is my rock journalist side talking, each one has gotten better and better and better, and there has been a significant leap with each record, and this one surpasses all the other ones in terms of songwriting and production and instrumentation.
And drumming.
And drumming.
If you insist. If you insist.
I do.
Someone's phone's ringing.
It's okay. I'll shut it off.
It's okay. All right. Shut down.
There we go.
You know what? That's what happens sometimes here in the Octoberland Daily Dispatch.
Busy time.
Noted rock scribe, John M. Borak.
Oh, my favorite track. Well, you know, that's the weird thing about working on stuff, that when you make your own music or you write your own songs, you know, you love them all because you made them or whatever it is. When you work on other people's stuff, you end up loving them just because of, you know, you get inside and you've heard every little thing and you just kind of get used to it. And even stuff that might not have been your cup of tea, you know, you really do live with it and discover the soul of it, for better or worse. And I think, yeah, everything that I work on at some level, I'm going to really get to loving it regardless. And I do think all these things, every song on this record has a lot of really special things going on for it. Some of them are just really fun. Some of them are really interesting. And there's a few that just kind of really kind of take you to an extra kind of like emotional space. I think Here Comes the Song kind of really starts to do that, especially once we got all the strings on. And it sounds like it's a very happy kind of, like it's a very positive message, but it's not at all if you really listen to it. It's very dark. But I like that. I like songs that kind of mislead you and you're thinking it's one thing when really it's not. I do that a lot, and 90% of the time people, even though I'm not a lyrics person, I don't usually pay attention to what lyrics are. It always surprises me when we can throw people a curveball like that and they still never really understand it, never see it. I could go on, but I would say my favorite one on this is probably Music and Animals, because that one's just got a special vibe to it. Like, I knew right away when I heard that one, I'm like, oh, I know what I need to do with this. And, you know, and it has a certain, you know, driving at night kind of peaceful, kind of what I call, like, you know, when a song has a lot of crescendo and it comes to it splashes onto the beach. It kind of already is there right from the top. It's, and you're just kind of grooving with it, and it doesn't really ask a lot of you. And when it gets to some of the parts that are where it really talks about the animals, and some of which passed away like during the course of this, that's kind of poignant, and it really, it is true, and it was true for me as well as everyone else. It's like, you know, the music in our lives and the animals are what really get us through, and you really feel that in that track. And it was pretty exciting for that to be the first thing to kind of leak out from this project. I hope people were paying attention, and the fact that it's at the very end of the album, it's a really great closer. I think when you can close with something that really gives you kind of a longing, a little bit of an ache. There's two ways you can end a record successfully. One is to, you know, do something so kick-ass that you're just like, I gotta play this again. And the other thing is to leave you just kind of aching for a little, to go back in there, because it was what you experienced in the album was so touching. You don't want to leave, so you want to get. And I think that song really does that well. Music and Animals.
So the song sequence on Octoberland,
Yeah.
that came together in an unusual way, right?
It really hasn't changed since we wrote it, basically.
The writing of it was the sequencing of it.
Yeah.
We came in with ideas, but the details filled themselves in, and they kind of related from song to song.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think, you're, as a screenwriter and storyteller, you've done that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So you know that when an idea gets introduced,
mm-hmm.
it's like Chekhov's gun, it's going to be used later.
Right.
So if there's a concept or an image in one song, like when the crows start to come in,
it becomes a motif.
It becomes a motif, but you can't put the songs out of order, because that's going to pay off here. And it started to get more and more that way.
Yeah, it was pretty organic.
Yeah, I felt like there was,
I always think it's really funny because Music and Animals was one of the last songs we wrote. It's the last song was hung on the album.
Although it was the first single that we put out.
And that was in deference to Mr. Simmons, who said, you can't bury it at the end of the album. And so we said, all right, it'll be the first single that everyone will be waiting for.
Yeah.
It's a story.
Mm-hmm.
So as the signing continues, John, which song on this record did you have the most fun doing the drums on, or did you find the most rewarding to do the drums on?
I loved almost all of them as far as drumming to them goes. I'm looking at the track listing here. One that I particularly enjoyed was Ridley and Me After the Apocalypse. I love how it kind of has that little sort of rock, sort of birdsy / rock beginning. Then it goes into kind of a Gary Newman sort of synthesizer thing. And then it's almost like the punky energy. So it's like all these genres thrown into one pot and mixed up. But it sounds great. It was so much fun to play. Another one that I really enjoyed, and I thought about this when I was listening to it on my way up here today, was It's a Good Time to Come Back Down from the Cold.
Yeah.
Just sort of kind of a mellow sort of song, but I played things a little differently than I would normally play them. And you know, I guess I subscribe to the Ringo Starr theory of drumming. Surprise, said the guy who's in a Beatles cover band. But you know, I was listening to an interview with Ringo once, and he said, you know, I never know when I'm recording what I'm going to play until I play it. I don't think 16 bars in, I'm going to do this, and 24 bars in, I'm going to go there. He goes, I just do what I feel. And that's what I did on a lot of these songs. If I had to play them exactly the same way again, I don't know if I could, because it was just, you know, I was just sort of in the moment. And I listen back to some of the stuff now, and I think, wow.
Well,
I don't remember doing that.
The Good Time to Come Back Down from the Cold is such a dynamic. The drums tell a lot of the story in that song. So for that to have been instinctive, it's you just knew where the song was going. And
yeah, and just, you know, tried to add things that were maybe a little different. And then Mike Simmons did some cool production stuff on that one, where he kind of had the hi-hat be sort of prominent, which doesn't happen on a lot of songs, but he did it on that one, and I think it really works well. And that was kind of cool for me to hear.
Ooh, that's a cool one, Rex.
Yeah.
Where are we right now?
Well, we're at the Boot Barn on Buck Owens Boulevard in Bakersfield.
Imagine that.
And that's
the best place to buy.
Yeah, it's got to be the ultimate boot barn that ever exists. And this seems like it has
put it on.
lived up to its promise. So.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I think
that's perfect.
I think we're good. Thank you, Buck.